Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to all students and teachers of Emily Carr, and to anyone watching this at a later date. Today's topic is going to be about the increasing gap between the lower and upper class sides of society, and how it relates to the text The Necklace by Guy du Pont. Sorry if I butchered your name. Anyways, for most of us, we come from a middle class family. We go to a good school and we wear good clothes. What more could you ask for? But realistically, we don't understand how the upper class and lower class people live, truly. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, understanding our views and their views on society, and why they're so different. First up, the lower class. Typically, we view the lower class as being either homeless or torn up, but that's not always the case. Just like in The Necklace, the wife views herself as being lower class, even though her husband has a very good job and they make a sustainable amount of money. That's not lower class, but she views it as lower class. Now, the lower class could be many different things, and lots of people view it as being very poor, and we could see examples of this throughout the world. Toronto, Africa, and even Jane and Finch. Now, that doesn't mean all people in the lower class are homeless or torn up or depending on a wage. That's not the case at all. It can mean many different things. However, there's a significant gap, and wait till I talk about that. Next up, the higher class. Now, typically, we as middle class, most of us, view high class as wearing nice clothing and suits and living in mansions, driving Ferraris. But other people view the higher class as being anybody who doesn't drive a used 1995 Honda Civic or a 95 Toyota Camry. Now, us again, we have different views, and this could be seen in many different places. California is one of them. Dubai, it's everywhere. Upper class people are everywhere, and so are lower class. Everything I just said only applies to a small margin of lower class and higher class people. Not every lower class lives in Ontario housing, and not every high class drives a California Ferrari down Kleinberg. But these beliefs we have make this gap so big. And typically, lower class are viewed as sloppy workers, and higher class is used as strong businessmen that know how to run a business. Now, this is clearly wrong. Speaking of worth ethics, as I was saying, lower class people are typically viewed as having poor worth ethics, and a high class is usually viewed as high worth ethics, and they know how to run a business, while lower class people don't know how to do anything in a job market. However, this main reason, worth ethics, are what is causing this gap between the high class and the lower class, and it's what's separating this middle class apart and pulling most of that middle class into the lower end of the spectrum. This is because not enough middle class and lower class people are recognized for their good worth ethics. This causes a major split in the classes. Now, what I mean by that is the middle class is totally disappearing, and the high class and the lower class are only getting farther apart and more different. And this is to take into account race, culture, and many other things like that. Now, I have multiple questions. How would you view a lower class if you were in a high class position? And these questions are for somebody that is in a middle, kind of a middle margin, right? A middle class. And how would you view a high class if you were a lower class? Now, after you've answered these two questions, this is what we in our countries can do. We can put aside our differences and all put together a good job market, a good wage for everybody to enjoy life and enjoy luxuries with life. And that shouldn't be locked towards the higher class. So again, let's all put aside our differences, create a good future for our future generations and make sure that their future is not affected, not limited by these class barriers and this huge gap that we have today. Thank you.